Hello friends, welcome to Daily Sourdough. Today I have another family favorite, sourdough English muffins, and they are truly amazing and really quite simple to make. It's a 2-day process. So first we're going to start with the batter by using 1 cup of fed starter. And so I fed my starter earlier and it looks really lively and healthy and happy. Spilled out all over the crock. But it's going to make the English muffins rise really nicely. So put 1 cup of fed starter in your bowl. Have to clean that up later. And add to that 2 cups of milk. And let your milk and your starter dissolve and sit for a few minutes while you just stir it gently and let that mix in and just dissolve. And while it's dissolving, add 2 tablespoons of either sugar or honey. Just take a few minutes and stir that up until it's all dissolved and softened. Now that my starter is dissolved completely, I will add 4 cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm just using white all-purpose flour because it really does make a nicer English muffin. But I only add maybe 2 cups at a time. Just add a little and then stir it and add a little more. So stir that in until it's completely mixed in. And then I'll add a little more. This dough is going to be thick. So the texture is going to be more like bread dough when you're finished adding your 4 cups of flour. So it will take a little bit of muscle to mix it in. On this last little bit of flour, I'm going to mix it by hand to warm up my dough a little bit and to make it, make sure I get it completely mixed in. And the warmth of my hand will activate the bacteria and the yeast. It'll just warm them up like the sunshine does and make them a little more active. And I want to make sure I get all that flour mixed in. Once all the flour is completely mixed in, cover your bowl and let it rest on the counter at room temperature overnight. It's day 2 and my dough has really risen up. It's so full of life and healthy bacteria, full of lots of bubbles. So the next step is to punch down your dough. Just flatten it. Spread some flour on your countertop and dump the dough out on your countertop. And spread it out a little bit, then sprinkle 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 2 teaspoons of salt over the top of your dough, and now you're going to knead it in. So kind of press it into the dough and then knead it very thoroughly. While we're kneading, we're going to be adding about another cup of flour. But just do it a little bit at a time so your dough doesn't get too stiff. Make sure you knead that salt and soda in really thoroughly. And my dough is really nice. And I might not add that whole cup of flour because it's actually very nice right now. So you be the judge. If your dough is sticky and loose at all, then add flour and knead it in until it's like this. And this is a very nice soft bread dough. So you don't want it too stiff and you don't want it too sticky. Now it is getting a little bit sticky, So I'm going to put a little more flour on my counter, maybe another 1/4 cup, and I'll continue kneading. So knead it roughly for 5 minutes. That should do it. Once you've kneaded your dough thoroughly, it's time to cut them out. Flour your surface again, and with a rolling pin, roll your dough out to about a 1/2 inch thickness. Now take a 3 to 4 inch cutter, biscuit cutter or cookie cutter. This is an actual English muffin form, so I'm going to use this. It makes a very nice large English muffin. Then just cut them all out and place them on parchment paper that has been dusted with cornmeal. This keeps it from sticking to the parchment paper, and it also gives that kind of gritty feeling, that gritty texture that you have with English muffins, that real nice crunch to it. Lay your cut English muffins on your parchment paper, but make sure to leave some room between them because they are going to rise. And try to keep them as round as you can so that they're very pretty once they're cooked. Then knead your scraps together again and finish cutting out your English muffins. When your muffins are all cut out, now sprinkle the tops with more cornmeal. And once again, this keeps the plastic from sticking to the top, but it also gives that traditional crunch to your English muffins. Then cover them and let them rise in a warm room for about an hour, and they will double in size. While my English muffins were rising, I went out to feed my chickens, and it's very windy. So if I look a little windblown, that's why. But I have my griddle heated up on a medium heat, and butter your griddle with just a stick of butter, but see how smoky it gets with, butter kind of smokes at a high heat. So add a little bit of olive oil or avocado oil and mix that in with your butter, and that will keep it from smoking so much. Then place your English muffins on your griddle, or you could just use a pan. A cast iron pan is always best, but if you don't have that, then just use your fry pan if you don't have a griddle. But place the biscuits on your griddle or your pan, and you're going to just, it's called fry baking or pan baking. And we're going to just let these cook for probably 5 to 7 minutes per side. And I always cover mine with a sheet of tin foil to kind of seal in the heat. So if that just helps it cook thoroughly all the way through. So I'm going to do that and then just allow them to bake on this griddle for 5 to 7 minutes on a medium heat. Look at these amazing English muffins. They rose so beautifully. They're truly the best English muffins you'll ever have. Sourdough English muffins. So give them a try because they're really not that difficult. It kind of sounds intimidating, but they're really no more difficult than a biscuit. They're just cooked on your pan baking instead of oven baking is the main difference. And of course they're great with butter and strawberry jam. Fresh homemade strawberry jam, of course. Oh man. So yummy. These English muffins make the best Egg McMuffins or Eggs Benedict or simply with some fresh strawberry jam. So be sure and give this recipe a try because you're gonna love it. And stay tuned for more recipes on Daily Sourdough.